Larry was also going to ask his teammates, his players, to reflect on the riches and the glory of what is so special about this game, because Michael Jordan, he only needs 40 points to tie Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest scorer in the history of the NBA All-Star Game. But Michael's under so much pressure because of being sick and the turmoil of Chicago's management situation. There's also so much hype about Kobe Bryant and the speculation about the future of the game. So Larry, he has asked his players to make sure that Michael's taking care of all of them, that today they take care of him. He needs 41 to break the record. I look for this overmatched East squad to be really inspired, play passionate ball with Michael right in the middle of everything.
It would have to be quite an outburst, because obviously you don't play regular season minutes, at least not usually, in an All-Star game. The All-Star game single season record, 42 by Wilt Chamberlain back in 1962, the year he averaged 50 a game. Michael already has the highest All-Star average ever, 21 plus in 10 previous games. But Kareem played in 18 All-Star games and thus has the highest overall point total. Michael Jordan. Of course, that's a bit silly. There will be no next Michael Jordan, but the combination of skill and flair that Kobe really captivated the country.
Kobe definitely brings the skill and the flair. You know, he's a very exciting player. He's entertaining. The thing that I'm amazed at a very young age is he already understands how to entertain the fans. And he and Michael Jordan have promised us in their interviews that they will put on the show here today.
East won last year. Cleveland 132-120. Glenn Rice of the Hornets with 26 points in the game and a record 20 in one period was the MVP.
Now Michael Jordan comes to this All-Star game without Scottie Pippen and without Phil Jackson. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get into his rhythm, because Anthony Hardaway.
Here is Michael. The head fake on Garnett. Over him into the lane with the game's first two.
So much for being sick.
Yeah, I think he's okay. He's got the bounce. He's got the skip. He's ready to.
Started, by the way, by a defender who's 6'11", Kevin Garnett. Payton into Shaq for the turnaround on the baseline to tie it at 2.
Well, you got the competition starting early. Everybody's out competing. Everybody wants to put on the show here today. Shaq with the fadeaway J, not known for that, but the players will try to do things that they normally wouldn't do.
Hill rolls it home. He's averaging better than 21 a game. Always a threat to put up a triple-double for the Pistons.
Nobody has missed yet, Bob. I think that's a lot to do with the fact that so many great players are here. There's the first miss of the day. Kobe Bryant, the pass by Shaq.
But intercepted by Kemp, who's confronted by O'Neal. The ball out of bounds to the east.
When Michael Jordan curls around off this down screen, he freezes his switched-off defender. And he gets right in the lane. There's no way Kevin Garnett has the lateral mobility to stay with Michael Jordan.
Payton on Hardaway. Mutombo with the screen, and Penny with the bucket.
Everybody's on their A game tonight. Now let's see now if they can increase the tempo. What normally happens in All-Star games is that there's a lot of one-on-one. Larry Bird has a stress passing, what we used to do in the 80s. Let's see if they play together as a team and try to increase the competitive level that's happening out there.
Payton with the spin. Bryant, Kobe's first All-Star hoop.
It's amazing, Bob, when you watch Kobe Bryant practice and work on his game. That ball goes right through the middle of the hoop. There's no luck to those shots. He does have trouble finishing off the dribble, though.
Hill on the drive for his second basket. The East leads it in net. And the Kid, as they call him, in Minnesota.
Everybody is waiting to see what Gary Payton and Nick Van Exel has planned when they get into the game. They say they're going to do something special for us, and I want to see what type of tricks Gary Payton got up his sleeve.
Kemp's turnaround spins out. Payton with the rebound. Shaq into the lane, over Mutombo, the ball knocked away and out of bounds. As you know as well as anyone, Isaiah, even more so than in a regular game, a point guard in an All-Star game holds the fortunes of his teammates in his hands, and how the Paytons and the Hardaways and the Van Exels and the others decide to distribute the ball determines the outcome and the MVP.
Oh, you better believe that those guys were treated well this weekend. Everybody probably took them out to dinner, was buying them gifts and everything because they wanted the ball. They're begging.
Malone missed, but at the other end comes back for the steal. Garnett had to go up and wasn't in position to handle the pass from Payton. A little schoolyard play, and Payton has it as they set it up. He misses a three badly, didn't draw iron. Hill backing away from Garnett.
Bring it back to Jordan.
Hardaway. And Penny, who's played only 17 games this year, missed almost 2 months with a knee injury, but voted as a starter by the fans, hits again. Shaq muscling it up over Mutombo.
Mutombo doing a very good job of forcing Shaq to the fadeaway. Shaq intent always on getting to that basket.
The thing that I'm impressed about is both teams seem to be playing together. There's a lot of passing, there's a lot of movement, they're cutting on offense, and the teams seem to be running their lanes wide also on the fast break.
And the game's first whistle from Bob Delaney, working the game with Hugh.
A Laker connection here. Kobe Bryant along that baseline off the back screen by Shaquille O'Neal. That terrific ability to hit that spot-up shot, and then Shaq when he is that deep. Pretty nice defense by Dikembe Mutombo, but that fadeaway jumper's going down. Now, Shaq is from this Newark area. He was over in Newark yesterday visiting all his family over there. He's got an uncle, Stanley Harrison, who's the brother of his father. Sad story. Shaq not able to appreciate and enjoy all the festivities because of the sickness of his uncle there in the hospital.
1 of 2 for Shaq at the line. Jordan from the head of the key. And Malone has the rebound. Pegging it ahead for Bryant. Picked up by Garnett. Back to Kobe.
See that?
And Hill comes away.
See, this is the game where you want to have a lot of oohs and a lot of ahs.
Kemp from Jordan. Fouled as he went up.
You know, it don't matter if you make the shot in a game like this. This is where you want to try everything that you can ever imagine. So this is when you want the fans to go, ooh, ah. You know, Sean 18 years old, and the size that he is now today is the exact size that he was at 17. He was really a man amongst boys, and he played with the same type of intensity. So you have Kobe coming down right here. Kevin Garnett's giving him the ooh, and Kobe comes back with a ah.
But no.
Sometime in these games, though, there's the opportunity to make a simple play, and they try to put a little bit more on it, and it backfires. That time, Kobe unable to convert.
Well, the timing is off. You know, when you got great players like this playing out on the court, it usually takes them about 5 minutes to adjust to get used to each other's timing and rhythm.
Kemp. The East by 5 at 14-9. Here's Payton, who had 17 points and 10 assists in a losing cause for the West last year in Cleveland. O'Neal screening for him and gets it back on the lob, draws a double team. A much better passer than a lot of people realize. This time he tries to take it to the hoop, and he's bumped by Mutombo for the foul.
See, this is what Shaq, you know, normally wouldn't do. But in an all-star game, he wants to take it between his legs and go behind his back.
Shaquille O'Neal, the first team since the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers to send 4 of their players to the All-Star game.
So you got Shaq out on the perimeter now, isolated against Mutombo. And he's trying all the moves that he dreamed about when he was a guard growing up. He went between his legs. He just tried to give him a Steve Smith hitch and go move.
Hill misses. Kemp rebounds but loses it. And Garnett is on the end line. It'll belong to the East. A timeout with 6:55 to play in the first, and the East. And this is the crowd responding to Ali's image on the Jumbotron overhead. As we come back, Jordan takes the quick inbound pass, and his shot rattles out. Here comes Bryant ahead of the field, reverse slam.
See, that was an ooh and an ah and a clap. See, that's what I'm talking about. In an all-star game, you want to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Kobe understands at a very young age how to entertain.
The great outlet pass started it by Shaq. A lot of centers don't outlet the ball anymore. They want to be involved in their own offense, but Shaq knows how important Kobe's electricity is to the team. Setting him up, the delivery, the spin, what's that, the helicopter?
No, that's called a 360 in your face slam dunk at 19.
To be 19. That's when the defenders run to the other end of the court when they see him coming like that at you.
Oh yeah, nobody wants to play against him nowadays. Everybody is looking at Kobe saying, oh, Kobe's coming to town, Kobe's coming to town. The fans and everybody screaming. Nobody wants anything to do with this kid.
There's a problem with the clock, and that's the reason for the delay, giving us a chance to look at Kobe again.
So you see Kobe get to here, he plants, he jumps, he spins, and that's the slam dunk in your face.
Last year was Kobe's first All-Star game as a visitor, even though his parents grew up in the NBA.
This is Hardaway to the left hand, and Mutombo with the follow.
But at the NBA 50 celebration last year, Kobe told us, he said that he learned from Earl Monroe and Tiny Archibald that patience is the ultimate key to his long-term success. He had a fabulous time in Cleveland last year, as we all did.
Except maybe in the All-Star game. He looked a little impatient there that last trip down the floor. He's got the ball in his hands again. To Garnett. Back to Kobe!
See, that's the keying up, eyeing each other. As they get their tempo and they get their rhythm, the game and the pace will start to quicken. Now they need to push it up the court and keep pushing it and keep pushing it.
Kobe with 6. Hill just a step inside the three-point line, and he has half a dozen.
So you got to make another spectacular play coming back. You can't come down and set it up right now. You just had a spectacular play. Now you got to get the fans into it.
Payton's pass is intercepted by Kemp. Here's Jordan on the wing, slapped away by Payton.
Gary Payton is doing everything he can to set Shaq up.
This time it's Garnett, and now Shaq. Against Mutombo, who makes him change the shot, and finally, they whistle play dead.
Kobe Bryant in transition. He's going to give it up here, and then Kevin Garnett showing that he can pass. When I asked all these players who their heroes were coming up, Isaiah, your name came up all the time, but Kevin Garnett, he said that his favorite player, he wanted to be like Magic Johnson. He's showing it right there, setting up the finish for Kobe well above the rim.
Nice.
Tim Hardaway in, Penny Hardaway out in the backcourt for the East. There's Tim Hardaway of the Miami Heat on Gary Payton. Pushing it up the floor, takes it in, dumps it off to Hill, and the reverse isn't there, but Jordan stuffs it home.
Now they got to push it up. Somebody got to get it in bounds and push it up quick. That's how you get the fans in it. You can't come down and walk it up right now.
But the big guys for the West aren't running back on defense.
Shaq banks it in.
You know, Shaq has a game when he gets down low. He's strong enough and big enough where he can take a basket. He can gangster a basket.
Shaq with 7. Kemp against Malone, who fouled it.
When you watch Michael Jordan, the reverse layup, and Michael, everybody else is standing. And to me, that's the beauty of Michael Jordan. It's about timing. It's about positioning. Everybody else is going to be down on the floor, not knowing where the ball is, and Michael high above the rim. Everybody else only a spectator.
Jason Williams of the Nets checks in. Jordan, baseline, got it.
The thing that's happening out here today is nobody's double teaming anybody. So you're allowed to display your skills. You're allowed to use all your moves because the coaches wisely have decided not to employ any traps or any double teams.
Bryant for 3. He didn't come here to be bashful.
How much did you listen to your All-Star coaches, Isaiah?
Well, I listen to them all the time because I was young and afraid.
Count it, plus the foul for Jordan, who now has 8 and a chance for 9.
But Michael told him, bring your A game. And if you don't bring your A game, I'm going to embarrass you. Michael, get him on the low post right here, and then give him the fake and the fade and the lean. Follow through, and you get the little bounce and the skip. That's when you know he's in his rhythm.
When I was talking to Michael in the locker room before the game today, I asked him about all this speculation about what's going to happen. He said, Bill, I signed up under certain circumstances to play for the Chicago Bulls. And I want to keep playing under those circumstances. If somebody else changes those circumstances, then I don't want to be responsible under changed circumstances. So it was clear to me that he definitely wants to keep playing in the NBA.
David Robinson of the Spurs, Eddie Jones of the Lakers come in for the first time. Vin Baker here for the Sonics, also making his first appearance. And Payton misses from the corner. Rebound Mutombo. Grant Hill. Jordan. Jordan intercepts it, takes it in against Robinson. There's some contact, but no foul. Eddie Jones to Payton. Payton to Bryant. Spin move, left hand, no good. Tip try by Jones isn't there. Baker will try it. And finally, it's Mutombo.
You got the 2 shot blockers in, and David Robinson and Mutombo, and they both told us they were going to protect the goal.
Hill swooping to the hoop, but it comes up short. Eddie Jones with a 3. way off. But Payton keeps it alive for the West. Kobe into the lane, to the hoop, and he's fouled. Is this Kobe Bryant not only the youngest starter, but the youngest player, period, in All-Star history? He is the third player to be a reserve for his team during the season, but selected to start the All-Star game. John Havlicek did it a couple of times for the Celtics. Dan Marley once for the Phoenix Suns. Lots of bench players have been voted All-Stars, but they played as reserves off the bench in the All-Star game. Only three, Havlicek, Marley, and Kobe Bryant, have started the game after being sixth men for their teams during the season.
You know, Jerry West and the Lakers thought so much of Kobe Bryant when they drafted him. He told us Friday that they gave him Magic Johnson's old locker, and when he sat in his locker at the Forum, he got chills in his body.
Who would? Magic Johnson with his wife Cookie with him. And Kobe has a very good sense of the history of the game. After all, he is the son of Joe Jellybean Bryant, an NBA veteran. He's around the game his entire life.
And his mom, Pam, grew up in that whole NBA lifestyle, so she knew how to raise a quality young man here.
Yeah, he has a total great history and a knowledge of the game, very similar to what Michael Jordan and Grant Hill had when they came into the league.
Glenn Rice and Reggie Miller getting set to check in. Rick Smits is already in for the use. The Pacers center. Here he is. His first shot. He's making his initial All-Star appearance, and this is 10th year in the league. Nobody has ever gone longer in the NBA before making their first All-Star team. A decade in the league and finally an All-Star.
Now, Rick Smits is a very good outside shooter. He shoots it good from 18 to 15 feet in. He's got great low post game, and if anybody hasn't seen him play in a while because he's been injured, this guy can put it in, and he's got three-point range. I hope he takes one today.
Bob, I think the two most overlooked All-Stars who are finally here are Smits and Nick Van Exel of the Lakers. The last couple of years, Van Exel and Rick Smits have really deserved to be here. It's about time.
Van Exel with his first All-Star appearance in half the time of Smits. This is his 5th year.
Talking to all the players on the Western Conference, they said the guy they missed most is Charles Barkley, because it was really quiet in the locker room.
Here's a miss. Now Jason Williams. Hardaway for three, and Tim Hardaway drills it.
Tim Hardaway knows how to put on a show. He and Gary Payton go back. They go way back from when they were playing against each other in the Western Conference. They got a little rivalry going.
That goes back further than that, I say. He was telling me how he used to take a lot of abuse from you when he was growing up as a young man in the city of Chicago.
Mitch Richmond's first basket. He was the MVP of the game in '95 in Phoenix from the Sacramento Kings, but perhaps not much longer. February 19th, the trading deadline. His name's been in trade talks all year. Hardaway with 2 in a row from beyond the arc. Robinson's underneath, and he slams it home.
Back to Mitch Richmond. Miami's been very interested in trying to get him. Pat Riley's been trying to get him all year. They see him as the missing link to their championship puzzle. Pat Riley is desperately seeking a trade to try to bring Mitch Richmond to the Miami Heat.
Tim Hardaway evidently feeling that when you're hot, you're entitled to shoot until you cool off. Launch home from about 10 feet beyond the arc and finally miss.
That's called a heat check, Bob. And Hardaway, Tim, is one of the guys that can get the MVP today.
Mitch Richmond comes off the bench hot. He's hit 2 in a row. Here's Jason.
You talk to opposing coaches about Hardaway, Tim, they fear his post game, Bob, every bit as much. And Tim Hardaway, he's your size, Bob.
Well, not quite. I wish. Richmond for 3.
So you got two guys out there right now, Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway. They having a little mini shootout. Both of them are trying to get into a serious thing, a serious groove.
Last shot time.
In the final 10 seconds, Richmond's foot was on the line, by the way. That was a 2 and not a 3. Hardaway into the lane, tosses up a hook. Pat Riley would not have approved, but in the All-Star game, it's okay with Larry Bird. Jones missing from half court. First 12 minutes in the books. East 33, West 25. Back to Madison Square Garden after this. You're watching the NBA
All-Star Game. Jim Gray at Madison Square Garden. Kobe Bryant, first quarter, 8 points to lead the West in scoring. Kobe, 19 years old. Is this everything you thought it'd be?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely enjoying myself. It's a top-notch basketball right here, so it's definitely a dream.
You're certainly not bashful. You came out firing.
I just wanted to come out and, you know, Kevin, we talked before the game. He said he's going to help me get loose, and he did.
How about that 360 dunk? Tell us about that one.
I just wanted to improvise and do something nice.
Now, you said you'd be nervous, you thought, before the game. Were you?
No. Once I stepped out there on the court, I really didn't feel as nervous, I guess, because I was at home, you know, playing a game of basketball, and I haven't played in a couple of days, so I felt at home.
Just another game, right? Yeah, right.
Something like that.
All right, Kobe, we look forward to seeing you back in the game.
And the East is back up by 10 at 35-25 in the first minute of the second quarter. Vin Baker fouled as he goes up. Baker went into the All-Star game on a real high note. 41 points and 11 rebounds on 16 of 22 shooting Wednesday night in a home victory against Larry Bird's Pacers. Baker makes them both. Rice comes back and fires. Long off the back iron. Kidd has the rebound. Between his legs, Robinson couldn't handle it, but Baker was there to pick it up and slam it home.
Jason Kidd missed last year's All-Star game after making it the year before. He was injured, broken collarbone. This for him is how he's got big-time finishers who can deliver.
Smith from Hardaway.
To be 7-4.
Rick Smith.
Dream about it, Bob. Dream about it.
If even you're dreaming about it, I'm not going to bother to think about it. Eddie Jones fades and fires, and Eddie Jones has it rim out for him. Baker stick with it, and Smits loses it. It'll still belong to the West.
Did they take the traveling violation out of this game?
Some think they've taken it out of the league entirely, and certainly in the All-Star game, they're not calling it tight. Logan is in the game right now, and obviously the substitutions come fast and furious. Robinson mishandles it. East ball.
We got two Pacers in the game right now, Rick Smith and Reggie Miller. Let's see if they try to run something for one of those guys and get them involved in the play together.
Miller driving on Kidd, tosses it up on the run, and he'll come to the free throw line. This, in a sense, is Reggie Miller's second home. Madison Square Garden. He's had a number of great performances here in front of hostile crowds he enjoys provoking.
Yeah, I talked to Reggie Miller Friday, and he was a little actually reserved over here in the East. They feel that everybody's talking about Chicago, and they've kind of conceded that it's going to be Chicago and Miami, and he doesn't want anybody to forget that, hey, we were here a couple of years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals battling the Knicks.
But Reggie gets the ultimate respect when he comes in here because they all boo him the loudest, and he's well aware of the significance of that.
And Jason Williams with the rebound. Second in the league in that category. To the Bulls, Dennis Rodman. Tim Hardaway in a crowd has it knocked away, goes to the floor to pick it up, and now it's Glenn Rice.
Nice.
Smits.
Glenn Rice's first pass of the afternoon.
Richmond's open, but his three spins out, and another rebound for Jason Williams. The lob intended for Rice is broken up by Eddie Jones. Mitch Richmond is back. Miller cuts him off and causes him to miss the layup.
See, that's when you know they're playing, they're competing, they're not giving up any layups. Michael Jordan warned them early that they wanted to win, and they're coming out to get it.
Hardaway tries another three. It ricochets to Eddie Jones.
Rick Smith is making a mistake. He's trying to keep up with the ball. You just got to stay at one end when you're a big guy, preferably the offensive end.
A two-pointer for Mitch Richmond. Again, is his total on the line. The West back to within 7.
I'd like to comment on a Mitch Richmond situation, Bob. Because, you know, here's a guy who played on basically a losing team his whole career. I think he needs to do more if he's really serious about getting to that championship level. He's going to have to take a sacrifice, a pay cut to get what he wants. He cannot have both.
One of the great catch-and-shoot players in NBA history, Reggie Miller, doing just that, what he does best in that last sequence. Here's Vin Baker muscling one home.
You got to admire what Vin Baker has done to his body. He was a guy when he first came into the league, was a very skinny kid. He spent a lot of time working out in the summer and has gotten his body to the point where he can go down and perform under the low post. That's Jason Kidd and Eddie Johnson and Eddie Jones. And the alley-oop finish.
Timeout, East. Jason Kidd told me before the game, Bob, when he learned from Magic Johnson, his boyhood hero was, when you come to these games, learn to let the joy show. And the West bench just absolutely loves it. Everybody coming up and enjoying it.
Ahmad Rashad back at Madison Square Garden, and Michael C. Now, you weren't feeling well when the game started, but once you got out there...
I mean, he's coming at me. I mean, I think that's the approach. I think he's being very, very aggressive. And, you know, if I knew someone was sick, certainly the first thing I'd do, I'd go out to someone. But, you know, I got to defend myself. You know, I'm going to go out there. He's got to play defense just like I got to play defense.
I noticed that you woke up, though. You know, you kind of like gliding a little bit, and then once Kobe started going at you here, you came back.
I'm just trying to, get my legs underneath me. I haven't been near basketball for 3 or 4 days, and I haven't been up out of bed for that long. So, I mean, I'm not trying to overdo things. And, but he's doing the right thing. He's coming at me, which he's supposed to. But I have to defend myself in whatever way I can.
So the pride factor does count.
Oh, yeah, it counts a lot.
The king is not dead, Bob.
Long live the king. And while Ahmad was chatting with Michael, Reggie Miller hit a 2 and Glenn Rice a 3 for the East. Here's Baker with authority for the West. It's 45-37 East.
See, that's what the young kids have to do. They have to come out and challenge the veterans and make them play, make them compete. And if they don't compete, you got to embarrass them if you're one of the younger players.
Well, let's see what Jones decides to do. To the reverse slam.
The thing that I like what's happening here is that the younger guys are making the older guys play. They're competing. They brought their A game. Everybody's stepping up to the challenge, and everybody.
He and Antoine Walker of the Celtics just checked in. Rice for 3 again, and good again.
So you got good spacing, you got good ball movement. You know, in the rookie game here is that they're playing basketball together. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of picks. There's a lot of screens.
Mitch Richmond, it's short. Robinson keeps it alive and a fresh 24 for the West. Here's Richmond. And Smits with the rebound, as if anyone's ever going to use the whole 24 in this game.
Jason Kidd is passing. They're not catching. And they're not finishing.
Rice has hit 3 consecutive three-pointers.
Glenn Rice has got hot. He's hot now. Now they got to keep feeding him. They got to keep feeding him the basketball.
One of the game's deadliest marksmen when he's on. He has 11 points in this quarter. Holds the All-Star record with 20 points in a quarter last year. Smits fouled Robinson. And we'll come back to Madison Square Garden after this. Despite having retired prior to the season, greeted by his peers, then he responds with 25 points in 29 minutes, ending the game in storybook fashion, a last-minute 3, and the MVP honors. But there's more to the story, Isaiah.
Yeah, that was a special moment for the NBA and its family. You know, Magic was dealing with a serious illness at that time. Before the game, we had a players-only meeting, and we all decided that we wanted to go up and hug him and embrace him and show the world that it was okay to let Magic back on the world stage again. And it was a very, very special moment for all of us as players because Magic had done so much and meant so much to all of us.
He hit that last three-pointer over you, but you didn't seem to mind.
Well, you have to put the show on, Bob. I was mad. Really, I was upset that he shot it in my face like that. But and you would recognize it.
Basketball fans will never forget that this All-Star game is what it is today because of Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas, the two guys who created the show and learned how to get everybody involved and put on the spectacle that it is today.
Robinson's cross-court pass deflected out of bounds by Reggie Miller. 5.5 to play in the first half. The East by 10.
Well, I love what I'm seeing in this All-Star game here. Unlike the others in the past couple of years, the guys are competing, they're working hard, and they're putting on the show.
I think it's a combination of Larry Bird's presence, Jordan's presence, Magic, you're sitting here, New York City. It has all been perfect.
Another assist there for Jason Kidd, setting Robinson up for the dunk, and then Kidd fouls Rice. That's his second.
Speaking about Glenn Rice, I was asking him, what has changed over the years, what he's learned now in these multiple All-Star appearances, including last year's MVP performance. He said the thing that surprised him the most, Bob, was that Michael Jordan keeps getting better and better and better. While everybody expects him to slow down, but because Jordan works so hard at it, he's that good.
Antoine Walker got the bounce. Now at the other end, Duncan with the turnaround, and he connects. He's the only rookie in the game, although not the youngest player on the floor, of course, because Kobe Bryant, straight out of high school, is just 19, and this is second season. Rice finally misses a three, and Duncan has the rebound. Van Exel into a crowd, lost it, recovers it, shoots it, misses it. Here comes Antoine Walker behind the back to Reggie Miller. Man,
nice play. Antoine's another one of those guys who are from Chicago in the summer league, played with Mark Aguirre, played with all the guys in Chicago, and you'll see what happens here. Antoine comes up, he reads it, sees Reggie Miller out the corner of his eye, behind the back pass. That's the peripheral vision.
Even though, Isaiah, that he's from Chicago, he did say that Magic was his guy. He said that Magic was bigger. Antoine Walker, the oldest of 6 children, grew up in the humble circumstances there. He's bought his mother and his younger family members a nice house out in the suburbs where he puts on free clinics in the Chicago area in the summertime. And Michael Jordan, surprisingly enough, Larry Bird didn't forget about him over there.
He comes back in along with Sean Kemp and Grant Hill. Smits, Miller, and Rice go out.
So you see Antoine Walker bringing the ball up court. He's very versatile. He can play inside, outside. He can do it all out on the court.
Walker misses the three.
And the three is not out of his range.
Look how Jason Kidd positions himself on the rebound. He is on the move as his big guys, Duncan, Robinson, are moving to get that ball. So he gets
a guy like Jason Kidd with his talent and his passing ability. He's very unselfish and he wants to give it up to everybody.
Robinson took it away from Kemp. Here comes the West. Van Exel with it. Pulls up, unleashes a three. It's no good. Kemp back the other way. Even the big men can play like guards, or at least try to in this game. They all want to show they've got a handle. Jordan left alone. That's usually not a real good idea.
But Michael Jordan has the real handle.
David Robinson just looked at him and said, "Do you ever miss jumpers?"
Tim Duncan. Backing Walker in. Then scoops one up. It's an air ball. His teammate David Robinson tries to follow. And now he's coming to the line.
It was a terrific pass, Bob. He saw the defense coming across. He just threw it over the top of the backboard.
Yeah.
Remember, Duncan grew up in the Virgin Islands dreaming about being a guard.
Next Sunday, as the promo interrupts the fascinating discussion time. Then in game 1, Barkley and the Rockets, Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers. Then the Pistons and Chicago in game 2. The NBA on NBC, a doubleheader, unusual start time, 2:30 Eastern for the pregame show, 3 o'clock game 1.
Both coaches going with lots of guards. Future of basketball is unbelievable little guys in the perimeter with just 1 or 2 big guys in the middle.
After the 2 free throws, David Robinson has 10. Steve Smith connects on a 3. Van Exel trying to find Kobe. Too long off the glass. Jordan back on the wing to Smith. Off the baseline.
Now Steve Smith was another one of those guys who grew up in Detroit, came to my camp when he was in high school, out of Persian High School.
Jordan sprinting ahead, saving it, intending it for Smith, but now Gary Payton has it. Van Exel into the lane. Nick Van Exel.
Child in Kenosha, Wisconsin, halfway between Milwaukee and Chicago. He said dreams as a kid was just to go to Division I and be on TV every now and then. Now here he is at the ultimate game.
Kobe Bryant couldn't stop Michael Jordan. Robinson came over to try to help on a double team, but Michael hit the hoop anyway.
You know, the players want to see Michael and Kobe go at it. Every time one of them gets the ball, they kind of let them isolate and go one-on-one.
Bryant tries to answer at the other end. It's no good. Duncan misses the little hook, and Kobe has it back. Antoine Walker with the steal. Sometimes in this game, it's hard to recognize right off who your teammates are. Here's Smith for three.
He and Howard Isley were in the same camp of mine. Rashawn Leonard, all those guys.
Van Exel floating through the air, and Jordan has the rebound. 67-51.
Well, not only the lectures that I was given, but Magic Johnson was there, Mark Aguirre was there, George Gervin was there. We used to have some great games after camp.
Jordan gives it up to Kemp inside. Robinson deflects the shot, and his teammate Duncan has it. Last minute of the half.
Nice.
Duncan can't finish it, but Peyton can.
Now that's the creativity of the young guys. Kobe Bryant just made a dribble move on the run that I've never seen before. He took it behind his back the reverse way and then dished it off to Tim Duncan.
Jordan stuck at 13 as that one spins out.
The West guards are rebounding the long ball better than the East.
Van Exel hits the lead, cuts the East lead to 67-56.
But that's the first three-pointer for the West today in 8 attempts.
Stay in your seats at halftime for a very special New York Broadway presentation.
Antoine Walker backs up, cranks up a three. Bryant with the rebound. The clock is stuck at 27 seconds.
Talk about home court advantage.
The ball goes out of bounds. And while they try and figure out how much time remains before halftime, we sneak in a commercial. Hannah Storm, Peter Vesey, and John Sally, they'll join us with the Prudential Halftime Report. And you won't want to miss it as some of the stars of Broadway perform, to this whole All-Star weekend. Bill Walton hanging around the hotel lobby impersonating Ethel Merman for hours on end, which I found actually very disturbing.
What team does she play for, Bob, in the WNBA?
There's no business like NBA business. In the last 3 seconds, Peyton with the left hand and Bryant, something to take into the locker room. And that'll do it.
That's the end of the first half.
The East leads at 67-58 after the first 24 minutes.
Coming up in just a moment is the
David Robinson and Kobe Bryant each with 10 to lead the West. The Prudential Halftime Report comes up next.